Vicky, also known as Dragonfly7673. You're watching DragonflySoars. I'm recording this on Tuesday, June 25th, and it's about 6:30 at night. You'll notice I'm facing a different direction again. Well, when I started setting up, there was sun coming in this window and it would have been right across my face. So I decided to shift and put the curtain behind me. We'll see how it goes. And of course, now that I set up, the sun went behind clouds and is nowhere to be seen. I have things to show you because I've actually made progress. I want to talk to you about Midwest Fiber and Folk and some items that have come, including one of the prizes for the birthstone along. So, if you are new to the podcast, the birthstone along is a knit, crochet, spin along that we are doing all year, where you work on something, you finish something that represents that month's birthstone. And if you go to our Ravelry group, you can actually see each of the months, their birthstone, and what we're looking for in that month. Hi. So, this month is June, which is Pearl, and we decided to do all natural colors. So browns, grays, blacks, creams, whites. Hi. Tiki. Here, see? All the colors in a Tiki Tiger. Those are all the Pearl colors. And I did finish my beanie, which is, don't go up there, which is primarily brown. So this is my knitting birthstone along project. I'm still working on my spinning project, but this is definitely a beanie. It doesn't go down all the way. I actually got gauge. I think this is too short, and I actually have a tiny head. It actually matches the picture. I just forgot that I'm not a big fan of beanies because I feel like it doesn't cover enough. And maybe that's because I'm from Wisconsin, and if I'm going to wear a hat, it's going to be because it's really, really cold. So, but I think it came out very cute. I love the way the butterflies came out, and I love the top of the hat. So I'm going to pause real quick and show you pictures of the hat. Alright, speaking of birthstone along projects, this project was supposed to be for May, which was emerald. It didn't get done in May, but now both stocks are done and off the needles. They have short cuffs because, frankly, I was tired of knitting on them. I told you guys I was going to do 20 stitches of the 2x2 rib at the top. I didn't. I did 15 and decided it was good enough. But I am happy to report that they fit. They're a little tight to get on, but once they're on, they fit really well. So, 2 socks. I knit them 2 at a time. It's probably a good thing because this pair I might have gotten second sock syndrome. It's hard to say because I'm not sure if I disliked it because I was doing it 2 at a time and it seemed slow, or if I just didn't really like the pattern. But they came out really pretty, and I'm glad they actually fit. Because even though I was trying to be all blasé and say, it would be fine, I'd find somebody, I really was hoping they fit because I need new socks. So, I do not remember where I got these sock blockers, but they're made of cedar. I remember they had excellent customer service because one of mine actually broke, and they let me, well, it wasn't their fault they broke, so I emailed them and said, is there any way I can order one sock blocker to replace the one that broke? And so they put up a special custom listing for me to do one sock blocker, which I appreciated. So, this was my May birthstone long. The hat is my June for Pearl Natural Colors. The prize this month is the Weeping Angel skein of yarn from Azad. I am having fun teasing her a little bit because Allison is the one that had this wonderful idea to have the birthstone along, and then she hasn't always caught up. And the months when she's actually been caught up are the months she's donating the prize. So I always joke that if I ever draw my name, I'm going to buy myself something and then continue drawing for the actual prize. And I think that, based on Allison, I think that if somebody, if I draw somebody that donated a prize, I'm going to do the same thing. I might just do a Ravelry pattern for them because it would be easier. But if you donated the prize in the month and you happen to win that month, I happen to draw your name, I'll send you a Ravelry pattern. So, Allison, see, maybe. Now you got 2 entries. I talked to you last week about Nikki, who is living for fishing. She had been donating a surprise prize for September, and then she actually sent me pictures of it. So, this is a bag made by Nikki. The top is a dragonfly detail. It's actually the same fabric that my project bag is made out of that she made me ages ago. This is bigger than my project bag. And I think mine actually held a lot, and this is even bigger. So this is a nice size project bag. It's got a drawstring on it, and then it's got a carrying handle. So, and then the inside is blue. With the prize, she sent a skein of Madeline Tosh sock. This is the home colorway. This is superwash merino. So these go together. And then she also donated this little stitch marker tin. There's no stitch markers in it. I may add some later, but she donated the little tin. It opens. I opened it really easy the other day. It opens sideways. It has a little spot where it catches. You can hear it click. So all of this is the September prize. We're not at September, but we have the prize. And when she sent that, she also sent a very nice note to me. Pretty long note, too. And she made me another project bag. That string is not from her. This is a project bag made for me. It has black on the inside. It's a pretty big bag, seamed on the bottom. So it's a pretty decent size. It's also got the handle that I really like. Especially on bags like this, I like to be able to have something to hang on to. She did put a tag on it, Knit and Tackle. That is because she has been thinking about opening a shop, but she's not sure yet, which is part of the reason she's kind of playing with some designs. The bag I got originally from her is a little different than the bag that she designed for the prize, and then this bag is different yet. So, if she does decide to open a shop, and I hope she does, I will make sure to link it. But at the moment, I have a special one. All right. Other project, I finished the tube part of this sock. And it looks fat because the remaining part of the ball is inside until I'm ready to do the heel. I had told you originally that I was going to stop and do the ribbing, and then I kept going. Well, I decided to, I ended up, I kept going. I was at halfway through the pink the last time you saw it. I finished the pink and then started the ribbing at the top. So this one is all done except for the heel. So I did start the next one. Now, I knew that when I started this one, see there's a little bit of yellow, I started right on a color change. And judging by the stripes, I started on a color change of a small stripe, and then a big stripe. So the yellow toe is a small stripe, then the pink is a small stripe, and then the next one is a big stripe. So I knew I wanted to start the other sock on the same type of thing. Small stripe on the toe, just the very edge of the toe, small stripe, big stripe, because I want my stripes to line up even though the colors aren't the same. So after I wound the ball and I kind of looked at both ends, I ended up starting it. This one is yellow and goes into the pink. This one is pink and goes into the yellow, meaning that the stripes on this one will be the opposite direction. So this one goes purple, yellow. This one goes black, purple, yellow. This one goes yellow, purple, black. But because I did it that way, where my stripes are lines up. That was important to me because I start the ribbing on a stripe change. If I didn't make the stripes line up, then on the second sock they may or may not start on a stripe change, the ribbing, and it would bug me. So I don't care that they don't match, but there's certain aesthetic things that I want. So I started this one. I worked on it. I started it because my son and I had plans to go see Monsters University. That didn't happen. He ended up staying overnight at a friend's house, which was fine. I ended up having a night to myself. And then Sunday, my friend Jenny and I went to go see Wicked here in Milwaukee. And we had bought the tickets before I knew my son was going to be home. And he was disappointed that he couldn't come with. We actually looked for another ticket for him, but he either would have been, the closest tickets were either way down the row or 3 rows back, and he wanted to sit with us, so that wasn't an option. But anyway, and I didn't know if I was going to knit in the theater. I knit before the show started, but then I didn't knit in the theater. I've seen Wicked before, so I already knew how it went, but we really enjoyed it. We really enjoyed the people doing Glinda and Elphaba, and this time, the last time I saw it, I was in Chicago, way in the back on the balcony. This time we were like 5 rows from the front, so we got to really see facial expressions and things. So that was really nice. I'm going to pause and show you project pictures. All right. I sort of mentioned I am still spinning. I've been spinning that alpaca and that yak. Neither, I have total, there was 12 bumps that I needed to spin, so there will be 12 bobbins. I am currently at 8. At this point, I don't think I'm going to get everything spun and plied before July 1st. I'm just going to have to kind of see how it goes. Because each bump is only 1.3 ounces, I've actually been able to get one done in an evening if I try. I have stuff on the floor, the crinkly plastic, and the cats keep going on it. So we'll see. I'd like to at least get some of it plied, but I really wanted to get all of the singles done, and so I can mix and match my singles. We'll see. I did go to, and I'm not even going to post a picture, it looks like the last several weeks. I did go to Midwest Fiber and Folk, and the main reason I was going was to take a class with Franklin Habit called Knitting Tessellations. Tessellations are essentially where you have a shape, and you can tile that shape, and you can just keep tiling and tiling and tiling with no gaps and no overlaps. A square or a hexagon, when you think of like you're tiling your bathroom, you could just tile any old amount of space. Those are very basic tessellation shapes because you can just put square, 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 and make a grid forever. You can do the same with hexagons. You cannot do it with circles because circles are round. When you put the circles next to each other, there's a gap in between. Triangles, you can do it because you can also flip them. So triangles you can do if they're, because you can do it and then the next one is the other way. So you can do triangles. So there are some very basic tessellation shapes. And then the class was about how to go from a basic shape to your own shape and use it as a design element. So I ended up with this weird shape here. And based on it, I did this tessellation. Mine does have a flat edge, so my next one would be exactly the same because it's based on the flat edge, and I didn't finish drawing it up any further. And then we learned how to define where the repeat would be if you were knitting. And I did. Just a second. Alright, I did start knitting my swatch. That was my swatch. He was having us do, if you're swatching something that's going to be in the round, but you don't actually want to knit it in the round, you can just knit a row, and then you slide the whole thing back, and then you just drag your last one. This is all tangled up. I don't like doing this. We'll start with that. But you knit to the end of the row, you're way over here, you just finished this, and then you need a double point needle, and you slide it all the way back. Ooh. I just slid those right off. I don't care. I'm working this out later. You slide all the way back and you start knitting again, and you have these long loops in the back. And I started doing that because that's what he mentioned in class. Honestly, I rather just, I know how to do color work flat and to just knit and then purl. I probably would prefer that because to me, this looks sloppy and it's driving me crazy. And I'm the kind that a lot of times I'll actually weave in my beginning end right away because it annoys me so much. But anyway, so I kind of was working on this because I have nothing. The only thing I have on my needles right now is the twitchy socks, which are the tube sock. I have nothing else on the needles right now. I need to get something else. Anyway, so I'm probably just going to rip that out. It's that palette yarn because I had a lot of it. So, and while I was there, and I did enjoy the class because there are a lot of classes I won't take because I feel like if I spent some time on YouTube, I could figure it out, with some books and some YouTube videos. I could figure it out. I don't want to walk away from a class that I'm spending money on and think, wow, I could have learned that myself. I've had classes like that. On the other hand, I learned how to crochet. Mom taught me the basics of crocheting, but it just didn't process. So I took a class, and we had a very small class, and the teacher was able to really come around and talk to you, and I learned better that way. Now I'm still not an expert crocheter, but I understand it better. So that class was worth my time. I took an amigurumi class later, and the instructor, who was the same person who taught me how to crochet, asked me why in the world was I taking a class, because I actually ended up helping her with her pattern. And she said, you could just come and hang out. So that one didn't feel like I liked the teacher. It was fine, but it wasn't as good as money spent. And ever since then, I've been a lot more careful about, do I really need a class, or could I learn this on my own? Especially with things like YouTube and Craftsino. But this class I really enjoyed. It taught me something I don't feel like I could learn elsewhere, outside like a math classroom or something like that. I don't know when I'll use it. but it got my brain thinking. While I was there, because it was taught by Franklin Habit, I had him sign my book. I asked him very nicely at the end of class, as everybody was cleaning up, if he would mind, and he was like, no, of course not, I would love to. And so he signed my book. I was very happy. I tried to sneak a picture of him, but it was not very good. He was at so much of a distance, you just have to trust me that it was him. But I'll post it anyway, just because. So here, I'll put that in now. Alright, now I was originally supposed to meet Brandy, who is Yarn Tales, but there ended up coming a very large storm while I was at Midwest Fiber. And she would have had to drive through the storm to get there, and we both agreed that didn't make any sense. So I ended up not meeting her. But that also meant that I didn't feel guilty when I decided that maybe I wanted to leave when the storm cleared. So I didn't do a lot of shopping. I got a couple things. This is a drive band for my spinning wheel. It's not a big deal. It's just that somebody was there selling all Kromsky accessories, and I went, oh yeah, I need one of those. So I bought it. And I did get their card because I may get other stuff from them. I really liked the couple that were running the shop. They just seemed to be having a lot of fun together. So and we were talking a lot, and even though I didn't actually end up spending that much, I even told them that I will be looking for their shop to purchase in the future, and I am hoping that somewhere I have their card, or I'm going to have to go and look at the Midwest Fiber and figure it out. Look at the vendor list, I mean. So then I was sort of wandering, but I'm starting to realize that the more shows I go to, the more likely it is that I'm seeing the same people that I have already seen. And I'm starting to know whether or not they are regulars. I did make a beeline for fiber optic because when I had seen fiber optic in the past at Stitches, I wasn't a spinner. And while I think her yarns are beautiful, it's her fiber that I'm really enchanted by. Then last year at Stitches, it turned out she wasn't there. So when I went to Rhinebeck, I was really excited, and I bought 2 braids of fiber. And then I pre-ordered the Knit Girls colorway, which I've spun up. But I saw her at Midwest Fiber, and I made a beeline for the booth. So I have from Rhinebeck 2 single braids. And when I bought them, I had later heard people talking about that instead of getting 2 braids that look the same, getting braids where the end color of one braid is the same as the beginning color of the next braid, and then doing y'all as one big single, and then a lot of times Navajo plying it or something like that. I looked at she actually had the 2 colorways that I have as single braids. I looked at them and compared them to other braids that she had, and nothing struck me as something that would be a good continuation. Then I thought about buying 1 more braid of each of those so that I had 8 ounces of each, and I could 2-ply them together like I did the Knit Girls colorway. And I decided I didn't want to because I saw this colorway, which I'm going to post pictures because you're not seeing it now, and it's now gotten dark, and I apologize. I don't know how this is looking. This is chocolate to aqua. So, and I got 2 braids. So this goes a chocolate brown to a deep teal to a lighter teal and then eventually to a very light teal, or aqua. I call it teal. So I got 2 braids of that instead because I saw that colorway, thought it was gorgeous, started to pick something else. She had some colorways that were 50% wool, 50% tencel that were really pretty. And I still went back to this one. And then I grabbed the ones that I needed to complete my sets. And I still went back to this one. I finally decided, that's okay. I'm buying 2 braids of this. And then I wasn't going to buy any more at Midwest Fiber. But one of my favorite coffee mugs I bought at YarnCon, not this last time, but the time before, which was about a year and a half, because it used to be a fall show, and then they skipped a fall and moved it to spring. And this time she wasn't there, so it's Claymates, but she was there this time, and I got this mug this time. I really like it because it has such a wide bottom, and it's flat, so it's a lot harder for me to spill. While I was there was a woman who had pre-ordered a bunch of mugs that she was going to sell in her own shop. And she was busy like pulling them out and examining them and kind of setting them aside. Well, at first I didn't realize that's what she was doing, and I had reached over her and picked one up. Politely reached over her and picked one up and was holding it. And then all of a sudden I'm like, as I realized she was actually kind of stacking, I went, I just stole this out of your pile, didn't I? And she said, yeah, I didn't want to say anything. Okay. I said, no problem. I gave it back to her. And then as we were talking, then we just started chatting. And as we were talking, she had pulled this one out. And I went, wow, I really like that flat bottom, because I would spill it less. And so we were kind of looking around, and there were only 2 other ones that had a flat bottom like this. And one said Dad, which obviously wasn't fitting. And the other one had, she has these little attachments. The other one had like what was supposed to look like leather and a zipper. I didn't like that one as much. And the woman said, here, take this one. She said, I think it's $24 like the other mugs. And so I get in line, and the woman's going, and the person who runs Claymates sat there. She's like, oh, this is really for her. And I'm like, I know, she gave me permission. And she's like, yeah, I told her she could have it. So anyway, it's full of fuzzies because it actually needs to be washed. But I had to share it with you. So it's got a little I love alpaca. But mostly I love the flat bottom. I love this ceramic, like, holds the coffee a little warmer. So I really love my other ones. I have too many coffee mugs, but there are really only a couple I use. One is the other Claymates one. One is the giant Harry Potter one I got when my son and I went to Orlando. And I know there's one more, but I can't think what it is. Otherwise, I do use travel mugs, but at home I use those. The rest of my coffee mugs are all little, and they don't hold enough coffee or tea. So, I'm going to stop here, post a picture of the fiber optic. I don't have a picture of the mug, but I think you guys saw it well enough. Alright, and then I went to the mailbox the other day and had a whole ton of stuff. I didn't tell you guys. Dramatic Knits mentioned this first, and then somebody else on Plurk mentioned it. I got a whole set of knitting needles. I believe they're from China. They were like $12 and not that much to ship. I got them from eBay. I think the sizing is UK sizing, but I'm not sure. In UK sizing, a 14 would be a 0, and this is thin. I think it's thinner than my 0. So I actually was planning on going through and with a needle gauge. I actually was all excited because each one comes with a mini needle gauge and a tapestry needle. And I was like, oh, they come with the needle gauge, except for the needle gauge has the exact same number that's on here, which doesn't mean anything to me. So I need to go through them and figure out. I think they're UK sizing, in which case, and frankly, I'm not so good at organizing my knitting needles. I almost always have to pull out a needle sizer and size my needles anyway. So, unless they're my signatures. My signatures are organized. Which is funny because they're the one needle that actually has the size written on it and don't really need to be organized, but they're the ones that are organized. The knit picks, my tips are organized, but if they're fixed circular, they're sometimes organized and sometimes they're not because they have a tendency to like stay in a project bag and then yeah. So I also had told you last week that I won yarn from the Yarn Harlot. This was the yarn I won. It came the other day. It is Schaefer Yarn Marjana. And this colorway is, I didn't know this when I got it, but the color is one of a series created for memorable women. The color name and biography are on the reverse. So this is Marjana, but the colorway is Eleanor Roosevelt. So, and there's a whole little thing about Eleanor Roosevelt. I didn't know that when I got it. I just thought it was really, really pretty. I tried to take a picture of this. My picture does not do it justice because the teals and purples never come out. She also sent a nice note, and with it she sent a scarf pattern. Here, I'll show you. Dearest Vicky, I'm glad this beautiful hank of Marjana found a home with you. This one hank will make a lovely scarf, and then she actually wrote out a pattern. It's just a 2-row repeat, and I think it's a broken rib. Anyway, and then she said that if I finished the scarf, or I'm assuming if I made something else it'd be okay. She said, to send a picture to her and Steph, so they would know. And the last thing was something I got. I'm a sucker for if you have a sob story, especially if it involves a pet. And I love knitting and color fiber. I've spun her bats, I've spun her braids, and love them both. Last year at Stitches, I bought one braid, one bat, and I love them both. So she was doing a sale. Her cat Brody is sick, and she's trying to raise money to pay for the medical expenses. So she was selling fiber anything in her shop, fiber or yarn, at a discount. I don't know if she still is. When she was, it was in the Etsy shop announcement. Was the code to get the 15% off. But I bought 2 braids of this. It's called Pandora's Aquarium. So it's pink, purple, turquoise, green, turquoise, purple, pink. Very bright, very vivid. I will post a picture of this. In fact, I will do it now. I will attempt to post, I will post the picture I took of of the yarn I won, but it doesn't do it justice. Alright, I think that's everything to show you. I did want to talk about something that's happening. JD of the Twisted Strands podcast and some other podcasts, knitting and not knitting related, have been told by Blip that Blip will no longer support them. They're basically being kicked off. And it has been known for a while now that Blip was not accepting any new knitting podcasts because several people had tried to start them and then couldn't get accepted. Blip is a fairly cheap place to store podcast videos. I pay $9 a month for the pro version. To be honest, I don't remember anymore what the pro version got me, but I think it got me some of the automated stuff. But having it on Blip allowed me to automatically feed iTunes and my Facebook feed and my Twitter feed. It used to also automatically feed YouTube, but I ranted about that a while ago. So I've been cross-posting to Blip and YouTube. It is looking like all screencasts, as they're calling them, are going to eventually be kicked off of Blip. Now, we're not sure yet. We've had a couple people get kicked off. There are some major hitters. The Knit Girls and Around the Twist with Karen are both on Blip. So, and they're big names. There are other ones too. So I haven't gotten anything saying that I'm kicked off, but they also aren't saying anything saying, hey, we reviewed you and you're safe. So everybody is kind of looking for alternatives. The issue being that the alternatives, whether it's Libsyn, Podbean, if you have a WordPress blog, there is a PodPress, I think, version. All the other places for storing video podcasts, you're paying a lot more for the cost of storing your file, and for the bandwidth used by your viewers. Blip never charged anything for the number of views. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. Some of the alternatives are, they're $20 and then they jump to $40. I haven't looked at them myself. A couple people have posted some information. At this point, I've been kind of just distressed, and I don't want to think about it. I don't know yet if, when Blip turns off the videos, if they also kill all your existing ones. It seems like that might be the case. In which case, I'd have to go back through the blog, and first of all, I'd have to find a new place to store things, and then I'd have to re-link everything in the blog. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I've been around for over 2 years. That's over 100 videos. I don't know yet. Some people are going to are talking about that if it happens to them, they're going to go to YouTube only. As a viewer, I hate the idea of YouTube only. YouTube requires you to be streaming live. I very rarely watch videos in my house. I usually turn them to audio only and put them in the car, or I have them at my desk when I'm doing data entry. I go and sit at the park and listen. I very rarely listen to podcasts at home. I like being able to download podcasts to my phone and watch them wherever I am. I don't have unlimited data, so I can't be streaming all that. Plus, I'm terrible at remembering to watch YouTube videos. There are some podcasts that are YouTube only, and I never remember to watch them. I absolutely adored Around the Twist, and I had to I actually put it on my calendar to remember to look for an Around the Twist episode when she used to be on YouTube, and even then I miss them sometimes. So as a viewer, I don't like the idea of YouTube only. I understand that some podcasts are going to have to go that way because of the cost. I don't know what's going to happen. Right now, for me, everything is staying the same. Like I said, I've already been cross-posting to YouTube. I don't think every episode is on YouTube, but a lot of them. So we'll see. I think I have if I don't have all, I have almost all my videos saved. I know some people are panicking and starting to try and figure out how they can download their videos off of Blip because they never saved a copy for themselves. I don't know what's going to happen. If nothing else, I will continue to do, if I get kicked off Blip, I may go YouTube only while I try to decide if there's a better option. I don't want to pay $40 out of my pocket to do this. Even $20 out of my pocket every month seems too much for something I've been doing for my own enjoyment. So, I don't know. I really have not decided. I've been very much in a funk about this, which is part of the reason I didn't podcast yesterday, because in many ways this has become so much a part of my life, and watching other podcasts. I watch Willow Fairy and Polly Knits, and they may not be the hugest podcast, but they're my friends. I like watching them. Fiberista Files and Katie, and I think some of the podcasts, like Fiberista Files, Buchos Babe, Heather, if she wanted to change over, she uses her podcast to promote her business, so she could probably make it into a business expense. Same with like Fiber Nymph. But for those of us who are just doing it for the love, I don't know. I'm okay with paying $9 a month. I don't know if I want to bump up, if I will stick with YouTube only. I don't know. So, if you guys have any thoughts, I know we were posting on Plurk the other day. JD posted on Plurk and said, how important is it to be able to download offline? For some of us, it was like, I really want it offline. For other people, they were like, oh no, I watch in the Ravelry page, or I watch on the blog post. It doesn't really matter. I don't know, I don't care what's behind the scenes. So, I guess I kind of will also need to know from you guys how you watch, because that will make a difference. Because YouTube can't go to iTunes. YouTube cannot be downloaded offline. So, not without a lot of external tools, and there's some, legality questions. So, well, that was a really fun note to end on. I feel like I should add something. What have I been? I've been watching a lot of Doctor Who. I don't know what season I'm on, but I am in the Matt Smith, Amy Pond, and Rory season, where Amy may or may not be pregnant. And I have been reading a book that I read when I was a kid. It is it's not an adult book. But it's called The Girl with the Silver Eyes, and I happened to come across it on Amazon through something. I don't even know how. And I went, oh, I remember that book. And it's not in a Kindle version, so I actually ordered the book. So I'm reading that. I'm almost done with it. It's only been a couple days. I don't read much except for right before bed, so that's when I've been reading a little bit. But, alright. I will talk to you guys all later. The Birthstone Along will be closed the morning of July 1st, and that's Monday. So, make sure you get everything in before I wake up at 6 a.m. because as soon as 6 a.m. hits, I have a thing pop up on my phone that says, close the Birthstone Along, and I go, oh yeah, and I real quick do that. I think that's all. I will talk to you guys all next week. Next week will be July, so we'll be into Ruby. Because we did red for Garnet for January, I'm really thinking of July as more pinks, burgundies, pinky reds. But honestly, if you post something red, I'm not going to kick you out. I'm not that picky. But I am thinking of this as more for the time to do pinks. Tour de Fleece starts... Oh! I forgot to tell you something. Okay, Tour de Fleece starts on the 29th. A while back, I told you guys that they were trying to figure out whether or not they should do some new spinning features in Ravelry. In one of the threads on Ravelry, Casey posted that they were going to try to implement several spinning features, and I guess Mary Heather, the new person, and I think, I don't remember. Several people who are part of Ravelry are also spinners and also would like to see spinning features. So they were going to try and do some spinning features before Tour de Fleece. When he realized that Tour de Fleece is less than a week away, he said that maybe some of them will occur during Tour de Fleece. But they are going to be adding some spinning features. They may be very basic at first, like just adding fiber and manufacturer, dyer, brand, and fiber content. I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be, but they're going to be trying to add spinning features. So hopefully we will get some nice ones. I would really like it if I could actually put fiber in. That would be nice, and not have to mark it as hand spun. And I would also like to be able, if they put in hand spun, to be able to actually say what weight of yarn it turned out to be, so that I could use it in searches when I'm looking for yarn in my stash to match a project. But anyway, I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm happy to hear they're starting to move that direction. I will talk to you guys all next week, hopefully back on Monday. I don't know, everything's all screwed up with my son being home and such. Everything's not screwed up, it's different. So I will see you guys next week. Remember, put in your birthstone items, and I will see you all guys next time.